Hey everyone, we are looking at the Trickster today. The Trickster is the Nightblade Shaman combination, and the Trickster can get pretty interesting. So the first thing that immediately pops to mind for me in looking at these two combinations is bleeding damage. And bleeding damage as a Trickster, you have several sources of it. You have Phantasmal Blades has it, Ring of Steel has it, specifically the Circle of Slaughter ability. Blade Spirit has bleeding damage. I don't think the dual, oh no, there is an ability that has it, yeah. Rolling Death has bleeding damage. I don't think Shadow Strike has bleeding damage, it does not. But yeah, Blade Trap has bleeding damage on Devouring Blades, and Anatomy of Murder is sort of the bleed damage mastery. You also have bleeding damage on the Shaman side of things in a lot of places, including Brute Force, Blood Pact. Is it in? It is not in Primal Strike, I think. No, it's in Savagery. It is in Grasping Vines, and I don't think it's on Devouring Swarm at all. Oh no, it is. It's on Devouring Swarm. So bleeding damage is an excellent synergy between these two, and there are actually a lot of items in the game. Kinda, I don't know if it's a lot. It might be a couple. We'll say a couple items in the game that encourage you to use bleeding damage with the Trickster combination. So if I were doing a bleed damage build, I would probably do it in melee. I would probably do dual wielding. I would definitely pick up Savagery and just sort of savage my way through things. And then I would also pick up Whirling Death. Yeah, I would actually pick up Whirling Death, but I would also pick up Ring of Steel with Circle of Slaughter and probably max out Circle of Slaughter. Potentially max out Blade Spirit. Keep my Blade Spirits going while I'm sort of savaging everything, and then Circle of Slaughter whenever it pops up. You know what? You may also be able... No, you know what? I think I'd stay with Savagery, honestly. So yeah, Savagery instead of Amarasta's Blade Burst. Because Savagery could also proc all of these. So you can actually use Savagery with like Execution and Whirling Death, and you'll be dishing out a lot of damage with just your basic attacks. It might take a while to get that online though. Beyond that, you could actually mesh vitality damage as well, because Wendigo Totem and Devouring Swarm and yeah, I'm like, I know there's a third. The Corrupted Storm ability with the Phantasmal Blades line can actually do a lot of vitality damage as well. So you could use Phantasmal Blades, which is going to heal you, as well as Wendigo Totem is going to heal you. You could actually keep yourself really healed up with this. I forgot to mention that in the Conjurer thing. That's a huge advantage for Conjurers, is they can keep healing themselves. But yeah, you can keep healing yourself with Frenetic Throw, with Heartseeker, and with Wendigo Totem. So like a vampiric Trickster would actually not be a bad thing, because you could have a lot of vitality damage between these two classes while you just have two abilities doing your work. There's also kind of a pet build here. I've pointed this out several times in playthrough videos, but there's kind of a pseudo set with the Bane of the Winter King two-handed sword, the Crown of the Winter King helmet, and that amulet. It just dropped today in my session I played, but there's an amulet that has pet bonuses and lets you summon Chillmane. So if you use Summon Briarthorn with like maybe Primal Strike, that two-handed sword, maybe Brute Force, maybe Amarasta's Blade Burst if you wanna be heavily involved, or the ability Crown of the Winter King has, with the Bane of the Winter King toggle ability, maybe throw on Primal Bond. You could potentially have a cold build that's two-hander based instead of dual wielding based, and that's also a hybridized pet build with those three items. Little gear dependent, but it's kind of an interesting combination of things that you wouldn't expect out of the Nightblade Shaman combination. Because to me, it screams dual wield Savagery, but you could also do a two-handed build. Probably, like, you could maybe use Savagery with it, because Savagery does have this modifier, but yeah, it kind of does have this weird hybrid pet build for cold damage. I don't know how good it would be. I've never tried it. I have the 3 pieces to do it, and I might go out of my way to make a Trickster just to do that. And obviously for defense, it's a pretty robust class combination. You can use Pneumatic Burst and Shadow Dance to keep yourself actively defended. Veil of Shadow will reduce the enemy's speed. Phantasmal Armor is a little bit of extra defense. And obviously you can get a lot of health with Heart of the Wild and Primal Bond. You can get some damage absorption. So it's not a bad defensive class. It is, I think, a little lower on that end than other combinations, just because you don't have any active way aside from... Oh, this would be part of that combo too. I would probably do is Ring of Frost, because it will freeze targets and it adds cold damage onto Ring of Steel. But yeah, I don't actually know that. I wouldn't actually say it's a highly defensive combo. You do get a good chunk of defense out of it though. So for maybe lightning damage, I don't think you would go lightning damage here. You could get better value for lightning damage elsewhere. Same thing with a two-hander build. I'd probably go Warder instead, unless you're doing that weird hybrid pet build with the Bane of the Winter King. This is like, that's probably the 3rd build I'd think of going here, and it's hugely gear dependent. Outside of that, the dependencies aren't that bad. I'd still probably list this like if there's smack dab right in the middle of everything is like a Battle Mage or Blade Master. I'd probably put this slightly below that. There's a lot of potential here though. It's a really good combination, especially for a dual wielding build or bleeding build with Phantasmal Blades or Vitality damage. But again, it's not a lot of builds. It's another one of those combinations where there's like 2 really good builds and then everything else is kind of like eh. But I think that's going to cover the quick look at the Witch Hunter. Thanks for watching, everyone. I hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time. I think this is our final one. It's going to be the Blade Master. So I'll see you guys then.